has come down. Yeah. Still at the center of that discussion, we are seeing cost of fuel going up, effectively increasing cost of living goes up. Does this then, we expect a change of position, especially on the dialogue, because clearly your number one concern is not being addressed?
Yeah, of course, that is very true. And as you know, we are going to be giving you another statement tomorrow on the issue of the dialogue, which is ongoing. But of course, our number one agenda was the cost of living. It is still there. Of course, the other side has been making statements that they don't want it to be discussed. But we have insisted that it must be agenda item number one in the talks. The other one is the issue of electoral justice, which is very central to our coalition, and that must also be on the agenda. So there will be a statement coming again tomorrow. But I also want you to know that we will tomorrow be also giving our own assessment of the overall performance of Kenya Kwanza government this 1 year, our scorecard. That will be coming up tomorrow.
Let's wait for tomorrow. There'll be another statement. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
The government says the reason for the increase in fuel is global, global surge in oil prices. But a few months ago, the Kenya Kwanza government signed a deal with Gulf countries for oil importation. And they said this deal would reduce the demand on the dollar, which means then the shilling would come down and also reduce the price of fuel as well. What does the opposition make of this promise that was made by Kenya Kwanza?
I mean, and as far as you're concerned, that is really the cause of the problem you're having. When they interfered with the OTS, and I'm talking to you as somebody who has been a minister for energy in my other early incarnations. so that is the cause of the mess that we're having. They said that we are going to do a G2G and that they are going to pay in Kenya shillings. Now you ask yourself, what are the Arabs in the Middle East going to do with Kenya shillings? She's falling down. So the time, as we say, the chicken are coming back home to roost. Yeah. Here. So that's put us where we are here. And it is unfortunate that it's the Kenyans who are innocent Kenyans who are basically now suffering when those who are responsible are globetrotting, looking at coffee in Colombia. I mean, and the tigers, they're moving around when the Kenyans are suffering. It's very, very unfortunate indeed.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Pressure on parents seeking to take their children abroad, or those who want to seek treatment outside the country. The free fall of the shilling is more taxes from the suffering Kenyans. The taxes rose at a time the overall economy has been contracting. In the second quarter of 2022, which is the first era of Kenya Kwanza regime leading into 2023, the economy grew by only 5.2%. In a similar period in 2021, it grew by 11%. The regime resorted to more borrowing, ignoring the warnings that we are in debt distress and at the risk of debt default. Without blinking an eye, the regime went against its promises to reduce borrowing and did the complete opposite. Kenyans responded to this turn of events by trying to steady their businesses, especially the small enterprises. But those efforts were in vain as interest rates rose through the roof and more taxes hit those businesses. Only the government can now afford to borrow at the astronomical rate of 17% or more from the domestic market. In other words, the government is competing with the private sector in the domestic financial market. The result has been that micro and small businesses are struggling, defaulting, and folding up, while the larger private sector is at best stagnating or equally folding up. In the last 1 year, the proportion of micro and small businesses defaulting on loans has increased by 17%. Today, 6 out of 10 micro and small businesses are either paying late, paying only a part of their installment, or are unable to pay. Inflation is driven by the cost of food and fuel. As long as the government has not resolved the price of food and fuel, the cost of living will not come down. No amount of fertilizer will lower the cost of food as long as the cost of fuel is unchecked. Diesel is one of the highest costs in farming. Even if you give the citizen a bag of fertilizer, but make it impossible for her or him to plow an acre of land, you have not solved the problem. The shilling taking the grains like maize, wheat and rice that we import, those commodities have increased by 25%. As the economy has suffered, another grand betrayal of dreams has unfolded silently in the education sector.